Because the whole gospel is preached, that it is unto the Gentiles as well. And a
Okay.
Gentile
Do
was
you know where
anyone
the
who was
gospel
not a
starts?
Jew.
Do you know where the gospel starts?
I would say Matthew.
You gonna say Matthew? Okay, let's get Romans
Or
1.
actually, we should go all the way back to Genesis, because Jesus was spoken of metaphorically from the very beginning all the way through. Was he
I
not?
mean, let's do this. Let's read the Bible. Let's do
Well,
this.
wasn't he?
I mean, if
Either
you're
you
gonna,
agree or he wasn't.
I
Because
mean,
if
I'm not.
Jesus
If
didn't
you're
show
gonna,
up,
I got you. I got you. If you're gonna make that point of the whole Genesis 3 thing, I disagree.
well, no, I wasn't going to say Genesis 3. Like I said earlier, I don't know the whole scripture, but I do know on whom I believed. And that is enough for me because I have faith in him. And the will of the children of God is not by man or flesh and blood, but by the will of God.
I got you, bro. Okay, let's do this.
So that means any
Let's see
man
where
who
the gospel
believes.
is. Let's see where the gospel is. This is Romans 1 verse 1. It says, Paul, a servant of Jesus Christ, called to be an apostle, separated unto the gospel of God, which he had promised afore by his prophets in the holy scriptures. So the prophets, the fulfillment of what the prophets say is the gospel. That's the good news. That's why you
Right?
see in things. So what?
Correct.
So that's why you see in things like Isaiah 61. Watch this. Let's do this. Let's prove what I'm saying with Christ's words. This is Luke chapter 4, verse. I started verse 17.
Would you say?
Actually, I'm gonna start at 16. This is Luke chapter 4, verse 16. Because the first verse I just read was Romans 1 and 1 through 2, which Paul literally saying the gospel is the fulfillment of what the prophets say. So let's look at Luke chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. This is Christ reading in the synagogue. It says, and there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. It's Isaiah's right here, but it's Isaiah. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. This is Isaiah 61. We can go there right after this. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel, right? He's reading out of the prophet Isaiah, where the gospel is located, to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. So this is Christ reading out of Isaiah chapter 61 about what the gospel is. So let's read Isaiah 61 and see if this is talking about everybody. Isaiah 61 and 1. It says, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he hath anointed me to preach good tidings. It's in it right here, it's good tidings, but in the New Testament, it's the gospel, same thing. Tidings is news. Good tidings unto the meek. He hath sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound, to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord. Watch this, and the day of vengeance of our God. Why? Because salvation biblically is you being saved from your enemies, and this is going to prove it. It says to proclaim the acceptable year of the Lord and the day of vengeance of our God, to comfort all that mourn. And that's about to tell you who the gospel's for. To comfort all that mourn, to appoint unto them that mourn in Zion, to give unto them beauty for ashes, and the oil of joy from mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called the trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. Right? This is the gospel, what I'm reading, because Christ attributed this to be the gospel.
That's
So I'm
not the
gonna
whole
keep.
gospel, though.
But hold up. Let's say it's not. Let's say it's not. Just for you to have it. Let's say it's not. I'm gonna keep on reading to 3 all the way to verse 5. It says I'm on verse 4 now. And they shall build the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolations. They shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations, as Israel being restored. Watch this. Let's see if it's for everybody. And the strangers, this Hebrew word right here is non-Israelite, and the stranger shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and vine dressers. Do you know what a plowman and a vine dresser is?
Like a shepherd, a plowman and a vine dresser.
Yeah, that's somebody working a field.
Right.
That's what the gospel is. The
Right.
gospel is Israel being restored right here in verse 4, and then the other nations working the fields for us. That's what Christ attributed as the gospel. So how then? Matter of fact, I'm gonna read to verse 6, because it gets even worse. But you, the Israelites, shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. That means you're pillaging them for everything. And in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. So how is this going to be for everybody if the other nations, all their riches are going to be converted unto us, and y'all are going to be working our fields? How then can the gospel be for you? How does that work?
Well, because of John 1.
Because of John 1?
Yep.
Before you even go to John 1, can you deal with that though? Like, what does that mean? What does it mean
when
I'm
dealing with it? You asked, and what John 1.
Okay, go ahead. I got you.
It says, there was a man sent from God whose name was John. This man came for a witness to bear witness of the light. The light we know is Jesus, that all through him might believe. If you believe, he was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light which gives light to every man coming into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, and the world did not know him. He came to his own, and his own did not receive him. But as many as received him, to he gave the right to become children of God, to those who believe in his name, who were born not of blood, nor of the will of flesh, nor of the will of man, but of God. So
okay,
now it has nothing. Now, if a child of God is only because that you are an Israelite, Israelites were God's chosen people. But in John 8 states where Jesus called some of God's chosen people children of the devil.
I got you. I'm gonna deal with that because that's a whole set. Hold on, I got you. Hold up, Brent. Hold up, Brent. I don't want to mute you.
Brother, you're interrupting me though. I didn't finish.
Because we have to stop right there.
No, you don't want it to be proven.
No, it's not that I don't want it to be proven. I want to deal specifically with what you're saying. You said John 1, right? You said John 1. So I want to ask you: does John 1 negate what does John 1 negate what Isaiah 61 says? Just a simple yes or no.
Say that again.
Does what you read in John chapter 1, does that negate what Isaiah 61 says?
Yep.
It does?
How? Because it's God's will, not man's.
So you're telling me because the thing is that's God's, that's in Isaiah 61, God is saying that. Do you agree with that?
Oh, of course. This whole scripture is God.
Okay, now check this out, right?
John 1 states that the Word was God and the Word was with God.
I got you.
The Word became flesh.
I got you.
So when you're holding this scripture, it's Jesus.
Brent, hold up. I got you, bro. Watch this, right? Isaiah 55, verse 11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. So the Lord's words aren't going to go out void. He's not about to say something and it's not going to happen. So you can't say John chapter 1 negates Isaiah 61, especially when Christ quotes it. And the thing is, you know what's real bad about going to John chapter 1? You should have really watched some of the videos I have on my channel. John chapter 1 is one of the worst places you could go to even try to even prove that. Watch this. I'm gonna read the same verse you read again. Was that John 1:14 where it says he came to his own?
Yep, and they rejected him.
Okay, I got you. Let's see.
And that's I'm gonna read this.
John chapter 1. I got you. That's not what this says, but I got you. This is John 1 verse 11. I got you, bro. It says this is John 1:11. He came to his own. What does that mean?
The children of Israel.
He came to the children of Israel back then, right? Back when we walked on the earth, right?
Yep.
Okay, right. That was in the past, correct? That's why I said came. Came is past tense, right?
But he still lives today. Yep.
I got you. I just asked you a specific question. Came is past tense, correct?
Yep.
So he came unto his own in the past when he walked on earth, and
No,
his
that
own.
was talking about the light through John.
I hold up, bro. That's not what this says.
Well, look at all the verses before that. It says that light had came into the world, and he was in the world, and the world was made flesh, and he came
Yes,
to his own.
he was in
Yep.
the world by what he walked in on the earth. But look at this, right? He came unto his own, and his own received him not. Received is past tense, right?
Mine, hold on.
Like
Yep.
received, ed, past tense, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna read this again. He came unto his own in the past, and his own received him not back then when Israel rejected him, right? So verse 12, but as many received him, who is those who received past tense? Who is that?
Well, as many as received him.
Who as many as received him? This is talking about past tense. This isn't talking about now.
Well, then how can you say any of this scripture is talking about now, brother?
I'm saying
That's the whole thing that you're trying to prove is that it's talking. You'll quote an Old Testament verse and say it's talking about now, but then yet right there it's talking about back then, not now. Because
here's the thing, Brent. Here's the thing. I'm muting you because I don't want you to interrupt me. I'm fully qualified to do whatever you're saying, but I'm going to get my point off when I say it. The whole reason I didn't even mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to mute you right there. What I'm saying is this. The context right there is things that happened in the past. The only reason why I will pull a verse in the Old Testament to support something that's happening now because it's a prophecy. This right here is not a prophecy. This is something that's happened in the past. That's why I use words like came, past tense, received, past tense. So those who received him back then, he gave power to become sons of the living God. This has nothing to do with you or me right now. That's something that happened in the past. This is a
prophecy
record.
Is past tense, right?
This isn't a prophecy. This is a record.
Well, a prophecy is something that was mentioned that will happen, right?
The prophecy is something that's mentioned that's going to happen in the future. This isn't that.
Correct.
This is a record. So to you, for you or any Christian to use John chapter 1 to say it means that, oh, now we can just receive him, that doesn't work with the context of this. And I did a whole class on this. You said you checked out our doctrine. You should have checked that one out because I would never go there. So I want to deal with your point. I want to deal with your point about how Jesus called Israelites child of the devil. What do you think that means?
Well, because their spiritual father was not the father, correct?
That's what you think that means?
Well, that's what it says.
Okay, so how does that?
He wasn't calling Abraham the devil, was he?
How does that prove any of your points, though?
Well, who is the devil himself, brother?
I mean, I'm having a conversation with him.
See, I'm the devil himself.
You left it there. You left it there, man.
Because it's wrong, man.